Hey everybody, this is Larry with Hobby Progress, and today I'm going to be going over my tournament at the Show Me Showdown. It happened last weekend, so just gonna do it pretty much the same way I did my Flying Monkey review. If you watched it, we'll go through it game by game. I'll give you a brief explanation of how it went, and then we'll give you an overview of the tournament in general. So this was a 5 round GT. Had like 68 players, I want to say, at it. Uh, it was held at the Staley High School in North Kansas City. Uh, Great venue, and most everything went off without a hitch. We'll give you a little bit more on the basic review of it at the end of the episode. But yeah, that's where it was and how many players we had. So 5 rounds. So my first round was against Kyle McCord, and we'll give you Kyle's list here as soon as it loads. Okay, Kyle was playing Imperial Guard. Imperial Guard with a knight. So he had a super heavy auxiliary detachment with a Knight Crusader with an Iron Storm missile pod and Avenger Gatling cannon and a thermal cannon. It was housecrast. He also had, so then he goes into a battalion detachment of Imperial Guard Catachans with Vigilance Defiant Emperor's Fist Tank Company. He had Colonel Iron Hands Strachan and a tank commander with the battle cannon and plasma cannon sponsons with heavy bolter in the hull. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 10-man Imperial Guard squads. He had a Munitorum Priest and a platoon commander. He had a heavy weapons mortar squad. And he had another battalion of Cadians with the Vigilance Defiant Emperor's Wrath Artillery Company with a company commander and 2 tank commanders with battle cannon and Punisher Gatling cannon with heavy bolters on the Punisher and plasma cannons on the battle cannon. Then he had 1, 2, 3 10-man infantry squads with mortars. Then he had 3 basilisks and 2 3-platform heavy weapons teams with mortars. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of firepower. I guess I should go over my list before I get carried away telling you guys about how I got my butt kicked by this one. All right. So my list is a Custodes battalion with Captain Trajan Valoris as my warlord, a shield captain with Guardian Spear and Merzicordia, and a shield captain on Dawn Eagle jet bike with the Merzicordia. And he has the Auric Aquilus, giving him a 3-up invulnerable save and rerollable charges. I have a 7-man Custodian Guard squad with 2 Sentinel Blade Storm Shield guys and 5 Guardian Spear and Merzicordia guys. I have 2 more Guard squads, 3 men each, with Sentinel Blade and Storm Shield. And then I have the Vixillus Praetor with the Vixilla Magnifica, which is the -1 to hit banner. I also have a 5-man squad of Virtus Praetors with Merzicordia. And a Caladius Grav Tank for my heavy support. So that was my list. So it's pretty elite. You notice the difference from Flying Monkey. I swapped jet bikes in and took the knights out. I figured that might be better. I may have been wrong. I liked playing this list better, but I did not do as well. So anyway, Kyle McCord and his bajillion guardsman army. Let's see. Let me get back to my notes here and tell you what. So round one, I took Engineers, Big Game Hunter, and Reaper. I think I stand by those choices. Big Game Hunter should have been relatively easy to get with all the tanks and the basilisks. Reaper should have been okay because he had like 90, over 90 guardsmen. So I should have been able to get my 80 kills just by mowing through the guardsmen. And Engineers, one of those 3-man shield guard squads can sit back on my objectives and hold it. The mortars, I'm not that scared of, even though they're out of line of sight shooting. My Engineers should be able to weather all that mortar fire without too much trouble. Because with the -1 to hit banner, they're hitting on 5s, wounding on 5s, and I get a 2-up save against them. Not that concerned, although I do have a penchant for failing 2-up saves. So, the way this game went, we line up, and I don't get to go first. This sucks against this army, not getting to go first. So, I take a bunch of fire, and, oh no, on this game, no, it was a different game that I didn't get to go first. This one I did get to go first. I zoom up, I shoot a guard squad. I run some spear guys up, shoot a guard squad. So I run up and shoot a guard squad with my bikes, run up and shoot a guard squad with my tank, and I don't kill it. I get it down to 1 man. He spends 2 command points. It stays. I don't get a kill first turn. I fail to kill a guardman. Either way, that sucks. He shoots me back, kills my Gladius tank. That sucks because that's most of my anti-tank. My jet bikes fly up, kill a bunch more guardsmen, crash into a squad, kill some guardsmen, and I deep strike in Trajan Valoris and my 7-man shield squad and proceed to fail charges against the basilisks. He then proceeds to kill all my bikes except for a shield captain, which ends up charging his Knight Crusader and shaving 9 wounds off of him, and then promptly dying. So there's that. Trajan then makes a charge and kills a basilisk and ties up another one. That's pretty awesome. And then the Knight Crusader turns around and kills Trajan. And then he just proceeds to milk points by holding more, and whittles me down and eventually tables me. I lose this game 38-13. That's a pretty bad loss. He just had way too many guns and was forcing me to make way too many saves. And while I don't like to blame games on dice, my dice just didn't do very well. You'd figure 5 bikes with hurricane bolters and a Caladius tank would be able to kill a single guard unit, even if they were in cover. But I didn't. And that's basically how that game went. So, yeah. Anyway, off to a grand start at the Show Me Showdown. But we did this at the Flying Monkey, and it turned out okay. So I'm, still upbeat, still confident, and in love and life. So I go down to the bottom tables, and I find Rob Navarez down there. Rob is with the Flying Monkeys, I believe, and brought with him a knight list. This is a super nice guy. I enjoyed the hell out of this game. We got to the table, and I looked at him, and I was like, knight list. I got a Custodes list. We're not going to need chess clocks. Oh, that's the other thing. Every table at the Show Me Showdown had chess clocks, and chess clocks were being enforced. So you didn't have the option of not using it. You needed to use it. In our game, though, against Rob, well, I was like, this chess clock's not going to mean a damn thing because, I mean, we just don't have enough models to make this thing happen. Either way, Rob's list was an Imperial Knights. He had an Arbinger Helverin with a Heavy Stubber. He had a Knight Crusader with Avenger Gatling Cannon and Rapid Fire Battle Cannon with a Ironstorm Missile Pod. He had an Errant with a Fury of Mars Thermal Cannon and Thunderstrike Gauntlet. He had a Gallant with a Paragon Gauntlet, which is the Relic Thunder Fist, and a Reaper Chainsword. It was also a Free Blade, which was a little different. You don't see very many Free Blades. And then he had a Knight Valiant. So that was it for his list. So against Rob, I took Titan Hunter, Kingslayer, and Engineers because his I can mark Kingslayer on his Warlord Knight, and then get Titan Hunter on killing a couple more Knights, and should be good, right? All I gotta do is kill Knights. My list doesn't really excel at killing Knights, but it shouldn't be too bad if I can get him into close combat, right? All I gotta do is do what Custodes do best, and charge in and knock them down. This doesn't work. I get to go first. I fire the Caladius at his Knights, and I do literally 1 wound to a Knight Crusader. That sucks. My bikes run up and fire at I believe it was the Gallant that was going to be charging me. They fire everything they got into him, do nothing. So I've shaved 1 wound off. Round 1. But I hold more objectives. So bonus, right? That's cool. Next round, his Crusader shoots in and cripples my Caladius. And his Gallant moves up a little bit more. I was stayed out of range of... and, he's getting ready to charge me. I then... I can't remember if he makes the charge on my bikes. I believe he does make the charge on my bikes instead of me charging him. Either way, we fight back and forth with my bikes and the Gallant. My bikes end up losing. My Caladius cleans up the Gallant. And now I'm, in trouble. He's got a Valiant up in my face. My 7-man guard squad and Trajan had to deep strike in. I lose 2 of my guys trying to charge the stupid flamethrower thing that Valiant has, and then proceed to fail the charge. He backs up. I have to chase him down, charge him again, and this time I make the charge only to have better than half that squad gone. Trajan makes it in, deals a couple wounds, gets stomped to death. I then sit on a couple of my objectives. I score a few points, and all but get tabled. We end up going all the way to turn 6, back and forth, neither one of us being able to kill very much. I end up getting another loss, 16-25. Losing my Caladius without barely dealing any damage kind of sucks. Only being able to kill one of his Knights sucked. that Valiant is hard to charge. He just has too many shots with that flamethrower. Um, should have done better in this matchup. I don't know what else to say about it, but Rob was a really good guy. I enjoyed playing that game a lot, even though I lost pretty badly. We were done in like an hour out of our 3 hour rounds, and I got to go hover around and see how everybody else was doing on my team, and it wasn't a bad game. Just another bout of tough luck. Uh, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. All right, game number 3, last game of the day. I get Trey Schultz. I believe that is how you pronounce his name. I doubt he's watching, so he won't know if I mispronounce it. And he is playing Dark Eldar with Harlequins. And this is an army I actually know a little bit about because I've been able to play them a smidge. But not as well as I knew the first 2 armies. So he's got a battalion attachment of Drukhari, Dark Eldar, Prophets of Flesh with 2 Homunculus, and 3 squads of Vraks, a big squad of Grotesques, with 3 small squads of Talos. Then he's got Cult of the Cursed Blade. I think that is a battalion with 3 squads of Witches, 2 Succubus, and a squad of Scourges. And then he's got a Vanguard detachment of Harlequins, of the Soaring Spite, Serpent's Blood Mask. I don't know what that means, to be honest. He had a Troop Master with Fusion Pistol, 2 Death Jesters, a Solitaire, and a blob of Skyweaver jet bikes with Haywire cannons. So, against Trey, I took Gangbusters, Reaper, and Headhunter. Reaper was a mistake. He only barely had enough for me to max out Reaper. I would have had to basically table him to get it. Gangbusters, good. The Grotesques and the Talos give up Gangbusters. They're things I have to kill anyway, and he's coming to me. So, not bad. And then Headhunter, he's got like 9 characters. So, shouldn't be too bad. And again, they're coming to me. So, it shouldn't be hard to get those. I know he's durable, and I know I have to get a lot of kills in early on him. Otherwise, I'm going to suffer because he gets power from pain. So, the longer this game goes, the worse it's going to be for me. Plus, if he starts killing stuff later on, I get weaker and weaker and weaker a lot faster than he will. I don't deep strike anybody. I keep them all on the field because, like I said, I know he's coming to me, and I kind of charge out to meet him and shoot him as much as I can before he gets there. I use my bikes to charge up and hit into the Grotesques and kill the Skyweaver jet bikes, but not before the Skyweavers kill my Caladius. The Caladius really didn't do very much for me this go around. He just basically put like 1 or 2 wounds on the Talos. But my bikes and my Shield Captain bike charge in and wreck his Skyweavers, and then pile into the Grotesques and fight. Killing several Grotesques and then being killed back in turn by the Grotesques. My big guard squad then charges in and proceeds to kill almost all the rest of the Grotesques, but then they get killed by the Grotesques. My other 2 guard squads charge up and are taken on the Talos and get annihilated by the Talos. I think out of 2 rounds of combat, I dealt 2 wounds to Talos. He wasn't killing me terribly fast, but I was not killing him at all. And then I just got overwhelmed by a bunch of stuff. Didn't really get many of my Headhunter points. I got like all my gangbuster points, but yeah, overall, not a good, not a good game. I got overwhelmed, and I don't think I made good tactical choices on a couple of things. I should have focused down on one little area instead of trying to hit two big squads at the same time. I don't know. I just didn't feel good about this game. It went poorly. So I lose that game 31-15 to round out my day one with a 0-3 record. Yeah, it was just a rough day one. Um, I wasn't feeling terribly good about my tournament. I wasn't feeling terribly good about my list. Um, I really thought that ditching the Knights for the bikes was going to be a good deal. The Hurricane Bolters would be good for clearing chaff, and the Caladius tank could clear chaff if I had to. Otherwise, it's my tank hunter. Strength 8, AP3, D3 damage shots should do the work. It didn't. Um, Not on day one. The bikes couldn't roll saves to save their life. I was losing them 2 to 3 bikes a turn. More often than not, losing them 1 to 2 bikes before I ever made it into combat. The Caladius never made it past turn 2 on day 1. And, man, I just did not have the staying power that Custodes should have. Again, I don't like to blame games on the dice, but, man, I can roll a lot of ones when it comes to making saves. So, yeah, that's my day one. We can go on to day two. So Sunday, we get some drops and we get some weird repairing. Show Me Showdown doesn't have a day two check-in, and that's some of the feedback that I left with them that they should, because we knew our pairings before we left on Saturday, knowing that we'd have to repair Sunday morning. And so the rounds got started a little weird. Not a big deal, just it was a little annoying starting on day two. Either way, day two, I get Ben McCarthy. Now, Ben McCarthy is playing a list that I've played similar lists before. He's playing Eldar, but he's not playing Eldar Flyers, which was extremely prevalent at this tournament. He's playing Foot Eldar, which you just don't see very often. Either way, he's playing an Altiok battalion with a Farseer Skyrunner, Warlock Skyrunner, 2 squads of Guardians, and 1 squad of Storm Guardians. He's playing a squad of Fire Dragons, Dark Reapers, and then 3 Wave Serpents. He is then playing another battalion with Alatok, with Illic Nightspear, Moggan Ra, and 3 squads of Rangers. So you can see how this is a little bit of a different Eldar list. I'm looking at it going, that's a lot of T3 bodies on the table. I should do good here. Hurricane Bolters are finally going to do the work, and my Caladius can measure itself up against some Wave Serpents, and hopefully we do some damage. I think this isn't too bad. I should have a good game, and we can pull out like I did for Flying Monkey and get a winning record day 2. So for this one, I take Engineers, Reaper, and Mark for Death. I don't usually take Engineers against armies with Dark Reapers, but the way this table looks, I should be able to have 2 objectives right off the bat, and he can't focus all of my Engineers out. So I went ahead and took it. For Mark for Death, he had a big 20-man Guardian squad. I went ahead and marked it. I marked his Dark Reapers because I'm going to have to kill them anyway. And I marked the Fire Dragons and a Wave Serpent. with this game, Alatok killed me. Man, that -1 to hit outside of 12 inches makes shooting at them incredibly hard, and he's got all the stratagems to make certain things -2 to hit, and then, he's got just all this stuff that makes killing his stuff incredibly hard. Either way, I can get into melee, and I can negate a lot of that stuff. So, I end up... My jet bikes can't get into combat turn 1, because we're playing on the corners. And so they charge up. They do a little bit of shooting. I hurt a guard squad, and I kill a ranger squad, I think. So I'm getting kills, and he just explodes all over the board, moving his wave serpents out. The Dark Reapers get out of a wave serpent. The Fire Dragons zoom up and get out of a wave serpent, and he zooms over across the board to try to take another objective. My engineers are sitting back doing their thing, not caring. And Trajan and his guys are advancing up the board doing their thing. I didn't deep strike them again on this one. He focuses heavy on my jet bikes, which is fine. Better than him focusing on my Caladius, because I need it to kill wave serpents. He does quite a bit of damage to my jet bikes, but doesn't kill them turn 1, so he doesn't get a kill turn 1. That's great. I then proceed to chase down one of his wave serpents with my Caladius, and then charge into his lines with my jet bikes. I do quite a bit of damage to one of the wave serpents, the one that's holding the fire dragons, which is also the one I have marked, and hit it pretty good. My jet bikes get into another squad of guardians and wipe them out, giving cover to my big guard squad, which is coming up behind them completely untouched. I lose the guard squad. I lose the jet bike squad, and he pops out the fire dragons to try and kill Trajan. They whiff on Trajan. Trajan comes in, kills most of the fire dragons. They pass morale, which sucks. Jump back in Wave Serpent. The Caladius chases the Wave Serpent down, blows it up. Trajan charges back in, kills the rest of the fire dragons. I'm like, yeah, this is great. Getting points. But my big guard squad without Trajan gets just chewed up by shuriken fire and dies. I eventually end up killing some other stuff, but I just get outscored in the end, and I lose that game 17-27. Just because my guard squad didn't make it in. Now, there was a move that I should have done towards the end that I didn't see, which would have allowed me to pile in to a ranger squad, wipe it out with my big guard squad, and then consolidate into the squad of Dark Reapers, taking them out, and then scoring the bonus one round. It would have been a huge swing. It would have kept him out of a lot of points and would have been a huge victory for me. Would that have won me the game? Probably not. Would it have changed a lot? Yes. So tactical error for me. I don't think my head was in it. I think I had already kind of given up on the game when I shouldn't have. So that was rough. So yeah, 17-27 was not a good round 4. So round 5, I'm now all the way at the bottom tables. Having lost all of my games, I already know when I lose my game exactly who my opponent's going to be. Because I'm going to be on the last table, and I'm going to play in Dennis. Dennis from Preferred Enemies. I had been talking with him all weekend, and he was having a rough tournament too, but he was having a hell of a good time, and I was glad I was going to get to play him. he really just enjoys 40K. Um, he brought a list he knew he probably wasn't going to win with. He just wanted to play it. So, it was a good time knowing that I was going to play Dennis. And no offense to Dennis, it was a good knowing that I wasn't going to take last place because I had a game against Dennis. So if you're watching this, Dennis, thanks for the game. It was a super good time. I'm glad I didn't take last place. So Dennis is also playing Custodes. And you'll see what I mean when I say he brought a fun list. So he's bringing a battalion with a shield captain in Terminator armor with an axe, then a shield captain with the Castellan axe and the Misericordia. Then he's bringing a custodian guard squad with sentinel blades and storm shields, and then two guard squads with spears. Then he's playing 3 Alaris Custodian Terminators with axes and Misericordia, 3 Aquilon Terminators with Solarite Power Talons and Infernus Fire Pikes. Then he's playing a Contemptor Achilles Dreadnought, that's the Portable Dreadnought with a spear, and a Vexillus Praetor in Terminator armor with the Vexilla Imperius, which is the +1 attack banner. Then a super heavy auxiliary detachment with an Orion assault dropship. That thing is awesome. I've been wanting one since they came out. This is the huge Forge World dropship. If you check them out, my Facebook page, I've got pictures of it. It's super cool. So yeah, this is a fun list. He's got even fewer models than I do. It's ridiculous. Bringing the most elite of the elite in Terminator Custodes is awesome. And his army looks pretty cool too. He does purple instead of the traditional red on the Custodes, and it looks kind of cool. So against Dennis, I took Gangbusters, Kingslayer, and Engineers. It was pretty easy to choose. His Alaris Terminator Shield Captain was my Kingslayer. If I kill him, I max out Kingslayer, not too bad. Gangbusters, his entire army gives up Gangbusters, just like mine does. So that's an auto choose against Custodes. And then Engineers, because he's going to be slow getting to me. At least I think, But I forgot on that front that he loads all his stuff into his Orion and then drops it on you, turn 1. So that's something to keep in mind, that Orion is a massive transport. Alright, so I don't remember if I got to go first on this one or not. Sorry, folks. My memory gets fuzzy towards the end of this. But either way, basically what happens is my engineers all sit in the back, and another squad of engineers tries to run up the side of the board, while my jet bikes charge headlong into him, and my Caladius is going to focus on that Orion dropship. That thing is huge. It's like tough 8, like 20 wounds or some nonsense like that. It's ridiculous. Plus it's a -1 to hit because it's a flyer. So he's got his engineers in the back line, and he's hoping to hold up with his Terminators and everything. So he flies his Orion clear over my head and attacks my engineers. I bring my jet bikes up and I attack his engineers. Big bloodbath, charges are all over the place. I'm killing Terminators. He's murdering my engineers with his with another pack of Terminators. It's, just bloodbath. I take Tragem Valoris and my 9-man guard squad, deep strike them in, and take back my objective that he took when he killed all my engineers. And then my jet bikes eventually wipe out his Terminators and start turning around to come back. When my Caladius tank finally brings down his Orion dropship, and we have this really back and forth game, and I think I'm gonna get ready to table him on turn 6. He's got 1 Terminator left, and I bring him down to 1 wound and don't end up killing him. It was a great game. Dennis is a great guy. Shout out to Preferred Enemies. It was a super good time. I win that game 27-17 for my only victory of the Show Me Showdown. So I go 1-4 on the weekend, and I have a great time. Like I said, the tournament was great. 5 rounds up at the Staley High School. It was a great venue. They did it in like this lunchroom area. The only downside was day 1, it was like 105 degrees outside, and they got these big windows all up one wall. So it was really hot day 1. The air conditioning did not keep up, not with all those people standing around. It was really, really warm in there. Day 2 was much better. It rained overnight. It wasn't nearly as hot. It just felt much nicer in there. Nathan Martin runs a great event up there. And he's raising money for the school, for their DECA and business department stuff, future business leaders stuff, FBLA stuff. So apparently the tournament raised a bunch of money. And that's really good for their event. So hopefully they're looking to expand, and that's awesome. If you want to look for, I believe it's Iron Halo TV on Twitch, you can watch the top tables streamed. There's some pretty good games going on up there. You'll get to see Matt Rutt take the victory over the whole thing, and you'll get to see Bam Bam Hunter from Flying Monkeys play in round 1 up there on the stream. So it was a good weekend overall. I had a really good time. The club brought some good stuff. Brian Long, Greg Timms, and Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. I can't remember your last name. I could look it up, but I already closed the app out. Dubert, I believe is your last name, Mike. Mike brought Imperial Knights and some Space Marines. Brian Long brought his Eldar, and Greg brought Dark Eldar. Greg sadly had to drop for round 2, or not round 2, but day 2. Couldn't get back Sunday, but the rest of us finished out pretty good. Oh, Andre. I almost forgot Andre. Andre was playing Tau, and he had a pretty good tournament too, looked like. So the Heroic Morale team made a pretty fun showing for Show Me Showdown. This is probably my last tournament of the season, big tournament anyway. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I made it to my 3 majors, and was had a good time at all 3 of them. I didn't play as well as I would have liked. Hopefully next year I can come back to some of these tournaments and have a better showing. But yeah, it was a good time. So if we get any RTTs coming up for the Heroic Morale, I think I've got a team tournament coming up here at the end of August. So I'll bring you a little bit of a report from that. And it should be a good time. So thanks for watching.